Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is my weekly reminder to House Republicans that they have only 30 legislative days before the July 4th recess. In that time, they had better allow a vote on immigration reform, or the President will take executive action to reform our immigration system. The chance to save the Republican Party from being a regional party and not a national one rests on what Republican leaders do during the next 30 legislative days. If they deny justice, security, and dignity to our brothers and sisters with foreign hands who work every day in American fields to plant and pick our vegetables, the Republican Party is giving up on the chance for their brothers and sisters with Republican hands to pick and plant vegetables in the White House vegetable garden anytime soon. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the Hispanic Congressional Caucus will have a special meeting with Secretary of Homeland Security Johnson. We will present him with a memo that lays out options the Obama administration has under current law to protect more immigrants from deportation along the lines of deferred action for dreamers. The important phase here is under current law. In February 2011, we delivered a memo to the President outlining specific actions he could take within existing law to keep families together, spare military families, and yes, spare those who would qualify for the DREAM Act, protecting them temporarily on a case-by-case basis from deportation using tools in the law like deferred action, parole in place, and hardship waivers. Our position was strengthened in April of that year by a paper called Executive Branch Authority Regarding Implementation of Immigration Law and Policy. The report, written by Bob Cooper, who served as general counsel at the Immigration Naturalization Service, and by Paul Virtue, who was also general counsel at the Immigration Naturalization Service. The report said, quote, "The executive branch, through Secretary of Homeland Security, can exercise discretion not to prosecute a case by granting deferred action to otherwise removable or deportable immigrant." Only a month before deferred action for Dreamers was announced, a letter signed with footnotes and citations was sent to the President from almost 100 law professors at our top law schools and universities, outlining the power the President has to spare immigrants from deportation. But legal scholars and research are not always enough to persuade my friends in the Republican conference. Almost every single one of them voted for the King Amendment defending deferred action last year and voted this year to sue the President over immigration enforcement. They are rejecting these arguments as some kind of academic hoax. So, as I have done in the past, I ask you not to just take my word for it, or the word of illegal experts, or hundreds of law professors. I ask you to take the word of your former judiciary chairman, 3 of them, when it comes to immigration and deportation. Here's the letter from November 1999, where at least 28 Republicans and Democrats called on President Clinton to exercise prosecutorial discretion when it comes to deportations and immigration enforcement. Quote, it's in this letter, "There has been widespread agreement that some deportations were unfair and resulted in unjustifiable hardship." Quote, "The principle of prosecutorial discretion is well established." It's in the letter. Quote, "Optimally, removal proceedings should be initiated or terminated only upon specific instruction from authorized INS officials issued in accordance with agency guidelines." And they go on to urge that those guidelines, it's in the letter, they urge, those guidelines should be issued from headquarters, just as the Hispanic Congressional Caucus is going to urge the President to issue guidelines for initiation and termination of deportation proceedings tomorrow. Let's see. Here's Lamar Smith, and James Sensenbrenner signed it, and Henry Hyde. 3 Republican chairmen of the Judiciary Committee signed this letter, stating that the President had broad discretion. Mr. Speaker, 3 former chairmen of the House Judiciary Committee, the legal foundation upon which this opinion rests, is as rock solid as their conservative credentials are. And yet, to this day, the Republican caucus has not come up with an immigration bill or a series of bills of their own. The American people are still waiting for Republicans to write their own immigration bill or amend the ones that were sent to us by 2/3 bipartisan majority in the Senate. And I'm here to remind my friends in the Republican caucus that the time is running out. If you don't take action, the President will take action to permit millions upon millions of undocumented immigrants to be able to live safely in the United States of America. It's your choice. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes.